Alright, I'm here to count down the best of the year, but keep in mind, I didn't see everything that came out. There is a lot I missed. Hell, I didn't even get a chance to see The Fabelmans, and I picked that as my thumbnail. I needed to put my image on one of the movies this year that features someone in a theater watching a movie, although, what the hell is with this guy? Must be due to David Lynch being on set. Anyway, let's count down my favorite movies of the year, although I had to write this video twice since I lost the file, so now I hate all of these movies. Number 10, The Menu, advertised like a horror movie, but is actually an extremely funny satire of the food world, where a group of foodies are invited to an island where they're getting a specialty meal made by a celebrity chef who has had enough of their shit as they've drained him of all his passion. It's also got the best looking cheeseburger of the year as well. Number 9, screw it, I'm putting Terrifier 2 on here. This return to old school blood-soaked gore-hound cinema is over 2 hours of wildly inventive death scenes, but also a fantastic hero and a truly memorable slasher villain that makes for some very funny moments with great supporting characters too, and it isn't afraid to just get weird, like suddenly with a song and dance number. Number 8, What Josiah Saw, which got its American release in 2022. Again, advertised like a horror movie, it's really this bleak-ass gothic drama about family trauma that's this close to being structured like an anthology movie. It has to do with estranged family members who reunite to sell off their property, but throughout it, we see just how depressing some of their lives have been due to a tragedy in the past, right down to this intense drug deal subplot with Nick Stahl. This was a good find. I dug the hell out of it. Number 7, The Northman. Speaking of bleak, Jesus, I guess there's not a lot of straightforward comedies I have on my list. That's okay, the worst list will have comedies. And just think of this as a movie adaptation of Hagar the Horrible, and you're good. Robert Eggers' Viking revenge film has plenty of brutal-ass set pieces that really suck you into this world and this story, if anything, due to the raw, screaming anger that's present throughout. But I loved visiting this world with its almost fantasy movie-like climax, though I probably wouldn't want to live here. Number 6, okay, here's a lighter movie, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. It was the year of several Pinocchio movies, so of course I had to put the best one on the list. I love how this movie doesn't hold back at showing Pinocchio to be this hyper-frickin' bastard, which does great in really giving this character the arc he needs. The stop-motion animation is just beautiful, and it also has one of my favorite endings of the year, which is simultaneously sad, yet also strangely hopeful. Number 5, I'll give both of these movies the same number, Ty West's X and Pearl. First off, we got X, which perfectly recreates this Texas Chainsaw Massacre era gritty, sleazy-ass horror film, as it's set in the 70s and has to do with porno actors and filmmakers making a movie on a farm, which happens to be run by a crazy old couple that feeds them to alligators. It's a great throwback, which really stands on its own too, especially when partnered with its prequel, Pearl, that tonally goes for a much different style, this one being more like an old Hollywood movie that at any minute could turn into a musical if it wanted, but of course gets more sinister as the movie goes along. Hell, the performance of Mia Goth is worth the price alone, as she gives one of the best performances of the year. Number 4, The Banshees of Inisherin, which reunites director Martin McDonagh with leads Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson, all of whom worked together on In Bruges, and I love this director, and this movie is one of his best. Set during the Irish Civil War, the movie gets into a more personal civil war between two friends, where one decides, I just don't like you anymore. What starts out funny with someone just being incredibly petty, the movie does turn more drastic and mentally unstable as it goes along, to then being a really, really sad and emotional story. It blends all of these tones naturally, as you definitely feel for the tragedy and loneliness of some of these characters, especially Colin Farrell, who is just excellent here. Number 3. Not many people loved this movie as much as I did, but I dug the hell out of Damien Chazelle's Babylon. This is a movie that has a lot of things in it that you find in an Oscar season movie. It's got an ensemble cast, it's 3 hours, it's got an award-winning director, it's about movie making, but what he did brilliantly is Trojan horse a sex-filled, urine-soaked, Tinto Brass-style exploitation flick inside of it. Yeah, the movie does a lot of things, like showing the chaos of a silent movie set, and also the transition between silent films to sound, but this one does it with a high body count. I didn't know where this movie was gonna go next, but I loved the journey and loved seeing it in theaters. Speaking of great theatrical experiences, number 2, Top Gun Maverick. A return to an old-fashioned summer blockbuster, one that's meant for actual longevity in theaters, and not, oh, we made a profit after a couple weeks, bye, see you next weekend on streaming. From the editing, to the action sequences, to the sound, the movie sucks you right in. It makes you feel like you're a part of this action, but it does so with a story that's actually engaging, and characters that you love and have fun watching. All of that also makes it great to rewatch at home, too. And I love the first Top Gun, but this one actually does improve some of the story structure while making it feel like its own thing and a true continuation. It's exactly how you do a legacy sequel, which is hard to accomplish nowadays. And my number 1 movie of 2022, RRR, Rise, Roar, Revolt. Just when you think you've seen everything in this movie, from train explosions, to shaking hands underwater, to animals being let loose in an already crazy action scene, to even a dance-off, this movie finds new ways to build on top of itself with its madness. And yes, while it does have some of the best action scenes of the year, there's real weight and emotion behind the characters and the story, which has to do with 2 people working on opposite sides in this plot of a kidnapped girl. The movie also has real arcs with these characters, gets into their backstories to give more context, and progressively just grows and grows this story as it goes along. It's a real epic with awesome, charismatic leads, great over-the-top villains, and a real joy in its filmmaking, which isn't afraid to get brutal, but also fun, too. What's your picks for your 10 favorite movies of the year? Leave us your lists in the comments below, plus subscribe to our channel today and click the notification bell, and we'll see you next time.